Hi Taurus, let's get cracking with your 3-card tarot reading this week. We're going to use the Ascended Masters for more significance, and as I so often am, I'm into Tarot in Wonderland here. So I'm having a shuffle now and saying, let's have 3 cards please for the sign of Taurus. 3 cards for Taurus please. Okay, and the first, let's put the deck down. The first one is this, number 26, the Tower, and I think we'll reveal the other ones slowly as we go along. Let's put them here, see if anyone picks anything up from these as we're going along. I hope you do. The more you tune in, the more you'll get out of these, honestly, because I'm telling you what my spirit guides are putting into my head, and the other side of the meaning is what comes from you. Okay, so we're starting off with the Tower of Destruction, number 16. Right, scary thing, the Tower of Destruction, isn't it? And that really is quite a scary scene. In the more traditional view of this card, kind of no one's disturbed, no one's too bothered. But Alice is in this version of it, so I'm really picking up on that for you guys, Taurus. Look, just fireworks everywhere, lots of things going off. The fireworks are rather beautiful, but things are in complete disarray, and Alice is rather afraid that she has caused this thing herself. Okay, so now we're looking at a situation, Taurus, where something's happened that isn't great, something that looks as if it's going to cause an awful lot of problems, an awful lot of trouble, and it's certainly thrown life into disarray in a big way. Oh, excuse me, but look at those fireworks going. There is immense possibilities here for beauty, and these characters being scattered, well, they've been blown up and they've been thrown all over the place, but they're flying in formation nevertheless, so everything is very, very far from hopeless. Okay, this is not a nasty card. It's a nasty image because things are likely to get shaken up, likely to get very shaken up indeed when that card comes up. But it's number 16, you know, it's on its way from one level of completion to the next. So, you know, it's not going to be a straightforward time at this point in the journey anyway. So the second card we have, number 0, the Fool's Journey. So it's right back at the beginning of things. And this Taurus, this is asking you to turn the clock back a little bit. Well, we can't turn the clock back, can we? But don't forget, human beings invented time. It's got nothing at all to do with anything really cosmic or spiritual when we start talking about time. Very much a human invention. So there is no problem turning back the clock. Now, the question is, right, this is actually Alice's cat, I believe. It doesn't look like the Cheshire Cat from a minute ago anyway. And she is jumping and the cat is concerned. Is she going to fall into this hole? Or is this hole in fact just a shadow which you could easily walk on and solid ground underneath? Very difficult to know. Very difficult indeed. But Alice is making that leap of faith. This could almost be a wand card, you know. It's a very kind of wand-like energy about this. She really is on her way to getting things done, and in the business of getting things done. It's a powerfully verdant green scene, so this is showing the forces of nature. When we get cards with that kind of imagery on it, I always say, spend a bit of time in nature. So I'm giving that one to you, Taurus, because we do all need to do that from time to time. Even if, you know, there's nowhere around you that's a natural space. If you're in a big city and, you know, it's not easy to get out of town quite often, then listen to the silence behind the noise, so to speak, and be aware that all the concrete that's been poured down around you has real land, real ground, and real earth energy underneath you. So if you can mentally tune into that, that's going to do you almost as much good as if you had a walk in the woods, and it will certainly start to bring the answers. So that seems rather positive to me, and that's a great thing after the Tower of Destruction. But as I was saying, this is not really a negative card. It's not a bad thing, excuse me. Oh, don't you just love it when the phone rings in the middle of a reading and throws you off? Right, what was I on about? The Tower of Destruction, it's not a negative thing. This is a lot like having to close one door before you can open the next door. And sometimes the universe closes that door for you. But don't forget these fireworks. They're a particular thing in this image. They are a thing of beauty, and it is showing that not everything is negative here. So it really isn't a bad time at all to be taking a leap in the dark, as we're seeing here. But really, in spiritual terms, do make sure it's a leap in the light, because the last thing we want is to bring the darkness in. But, you know, the darkness is down here, and the darkness is right down here, and Alice is sort of floating above it. And it is number 0, you know. You're allowed to kind of take your time at the beginning of a thing. Whenever I run a spiritual circle, I always insist on something that my first spiritual teacher insisted on in our circle. which is that you must go at the pace of the slowest, because everyone who's in the situation is in it for a reason, and it's sort of, it's everyone's job to kind of help everyone else along. That's how it goes in this life. So I guess there's going to be help around. Cheshire Cat is looking concerned and looking in on the situation. So where is this taking us? Card number 3, Ace of Wands. This is a real great card to get. So Wands energy here, it's really about getting things done. It's really about getting things moving, and it's an alchemical version of that. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of, there's spiritual magic behind it, most certainly, but it's spiritual magic that we've got to tune into. So we've got this amazing candlelight here blowing off this immense flame, but a hand is coming in holding the wand. And that hand has come in that way to show that this is actually something that a person has to do just to get things going. Even though it's supernatural, and even though we're actually looking at divine assistance and the whole thing of alchemy here, which is all about magic, we do have a magical side, and we do have to make that first move to make it happen. So really not a negative card at all. This is closing one door and then 2 more doors opening. Looks pretty positive to me so far, but let's pop these up here and go in for some more significance. Okay, Ascended Masters deck is what I'm using this week, an old Doreen Virtue classic with nice gold edges on it as well. How cool is that? So I'm having a shuffle and saying, tell us more please about number 16, the Tower, in this reading for the sign of Taurus. Tell us more please about number 16, the Tower. And we've got, let's just push these to one side a bit because we're focusing on the Tower and what goes with it at the moment. Balanced career and home life. Now the Tower of Destruction does suggest a certain amount of domestic problems, really, doesn't it? Because the Tower really represents kind of house, home, the planks beneath your feet, whatever you stand on, whatever holds you up and whatever supports you. And we do need to remember to try and keep that in balance. So a balancing effect is going to be great to go alongside this card. Actually makes it even more positive. But look, things really have got to change when it gets like this. But Isis, more than anything, as I look at these 2 cards, Isis is telling me about the fact that Alice is afraid that she's caused all this trouble by herself, and that, she's going to be in great trouble because of it, when in fact actually it's not really her fault at all, particularly if it's a childish thing. The adults should have helped. And in spiritual terms, there are teachers about who are always sort of willing to help, and really that is their job, and so don't be afraid to consult those teachers. Okay, but balancing career and home life, such an important thing, actually, whether you're looking at that in spiritual terms or not. Just a very important thing indeed. Okay, so now then, let's say, tell us more about the Fool, please. Number 0, the Fool, in this reading for Taurus. And we've got health and healing, Hilarion. Right. Now this would seem to go with the Tower of Destruction card as well, actually. So I'm going to put it with both of those just for a second so we can have a look. But this kind of thing requires healing, and healing is coming in. So it's brilliant. But this card really attaches to this one. Look, it's even the same colour just about. Hilarion is a wonderful character, brings great health, brings great healing, and is associated with art and sort of artistic things, music, that kind of thing as well, quite strongly. So this is about looking, when we're embarking on this journey, it needs to be done in a way that really fits with our creative soul, what we'd actually like to create, because we actually can. Yet another thing about Hilarion is he's great in terms of manifestation. You could almost kind of give him your troubles and he'll do something to help, I'm pretty sure. But it will always involve you having to do something to help as well, because that's how it goes. That's how the affirmation side of it works, the affirmative side of it. So that leaves us with the Ace of Wands. And let us find out, let us find out what else there is to know about the Ace of Wands. Excuse my terrible setup here, by the way. I'm working on it. I really am. I really am. But never mind. We're on this week's reading. We're right here with the Ace of Wands. We're thinking alchemy. We're thinking get things moving. And the Ascended Masters, are saying drink more water. Ocean. So think of the ocean and drink more water. Now, the reason to think of the ocean as we go with this card is not just this lady's name. It's the fact that there is that much water out there. There really are problems with clean water in the world. There isn't enough of it, and we do have to use it very carefully and responsibly. But there's enough of it for us to have a drink. And when we do, we link into all the water that there is in the world, that amazing element that ancient peoples thought so much about and actually believed that kind of God was something to do with, and something very close to water. So drink more water. That's really important if you're doing mediumship or anything involving connecting to the other side. It's also very important for the human body. So, are you drinking enough water? Whatever's going on, it's worth asking yourself that. It's worth thinking about that, because it is important. But it's not just drink more water, it's kind of visualize water, actually think about it. Maybe spend some time by water. Now then, as I was saying when we got to Hilarion, we were talking about the green thing here and needing to get out into nature a bit. If you haven't got that because you're in a big city and it's difficult to get out, there's probably going to be some body of water in your city somewhere. People who plan cities do like to put a lake in there somewhere or something. So find out where that is, guys, and spend some time with it, okay? Because whatever's going on in this life at the moment isn't really pushing you in the right direction, I don't feel, because things have got to change, and they're actually changing already, because this was card number 1. Well, okay, I'm going to leave that there for this week. Thanks ever so much for watching, Taurus. Please give me a thumbs up and a subscribe. There's my thumb. I knew it was there somewhere. And a subscribe. And I'll be along again soon with some more. Oh, leave me a comment as well, because I do enjoy sharing the journey. Meanwhile, have a great week, and I'll see you soon. Peace.